You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva, and knowledge. Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris Renaissance, my co-ed channel for men and women, and which I bring to you spiritual awareness, wisdom, and knowledge. Nevertheless, I appreciate y'all for hanging out here at the lounge, at the cafe. You get what I'm saying? Well, I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please go ahead and hit that like button if you have not already done so. I gladly appreciate that. So y'all, let's get into it, right? Thought it was imperative that I shared this message, right? Because men, you got to be more careful, okay? You don't know and you can't underestimate bump what these red pill podcast channels are telling you about. Get as many women as you can get, pump and dump, smash and dash. You got to be careful with that, right? You have a lot of women out here that are mentally unstable. You have a lot of women that are not good at accepting rejection. They don't handle it gracefully. And also, you can't figure because you have one agenda that another female is going to pretty much, comply. You know what I'm saying, with your agenda. Okay, so you got to be mindful of that. So anyway, you got to be really careful thinking that, you're going to use a woman for your own convenience and then you're going to discard her, after you pumped and dumped. You got to be more careful, right? So anyway, I'm going to show y'all this video and then I'm going to give y'all my commentary as to why you have to be careful getting yourself in this type of situation. So I will say this. I'm not exercising violence. I'm just basically warning about reckless ego, provocation, and playing with unstable dynamics. All right. So basically the video isn't about blaming women or excusing violence. It's about men understanding risk, ego, and accountability when they knowingly provoke emotionally unstable situations for attention, validation, or control. So let's get into it, y'all. Let's get into it. All right, y'all, I had to pause. I had a call. So let me go ahead and show y'all this video because I want all of you to see for yourselves this queen crash out, in this video. Okay, so let me just go ahead and show it right quick. Let's get ready to rumble. All right, y'all, let's go.
Hey, come move y'all car.
Come on, y'all car.
Come move y'all car. Come move y'all car.
ASAP, please, hurry up. Go.
You call 911? Y'all call 911?
Yeah, I'm calling them. They taking forever now.
This bitch. Wow. Wow. And that nigga's in the car with. I can get down the fucking store fast enough. The bitch set my car fire.
1216, Maple Brook Lane.
This bitch gonna set my car on fire. Wow. Dirty bitch.
So, y'all, let's get into it. I want to talk to y'all about this video. It's been circulating where, as you can see, this woman sets this man's car on fire. And before anybody jumps to conclusions, let me be clear, violence is never okay. It's unacceptable, whether if it's coming from a woman or a man. But what is okay is having an honest conversation about how ego, provocation, and poor judgment could turn a situation deadly real fast. Too many men think chaos is entertainment. Too many men believe they're in control just because they're getting attention. And what they don't realize is that not every woman you provoke is emotionally regulated, right? The majority of women cannot keep their emotions in check. And not every reaction is harmless. This isn't about blaming the victim. This is about wisdom. Because sometimes it's not the woman that ruins your life. Sometimes it's your ego telling you you're untouchable, right? So I need y'all to understand. Men need to understand the ego will get you burned. Not every woman reacts the same, and provoking chaos for attention or validation can come with real consequences. This isn't about excusing her behavior, and it's about basically just avoiding situations that don't end up in arguments, chaos, and in worst case scenarios, death, right? So something has transpired, obviously. Okay, so again, this is not to condone this Angry Birds behavior, but we got to keep it 100, right? Something took place. All right, something took place. Something has happened that caused her to burn this man's vehicle, to set his vehicle on fire. Okay, so let's get to the elements, right? Well, what could be some things, Hopefully, this dude didn't do anything that played a part in this woman crashing out. Now, I will say this. No matter what a person does to you, you are responsible for your own reactions. You are responsible for how you react, how you respond, and the choices you make. So I don't care if she caught this dude smashing her mama. Her setting his car on fire, that was totally unacceptable. Okay, I cannot condone crash out behavior. Whether it comes from a man, whether it comes from a woman, I do not condone crashing out. Okay, so let's get to the stack of potatoes. What are the factors that could have led to this, right? How about number one, emotional dysregulation? Inability to manage intense emotions, acting on impulse instead of reason. No pause between feeling and action. Some people don't agree. They explode. All right. You got to realize a lot of these sisters out here, it's a lot of sisters that are mentally ill, mentally disturbed. And you cannot think it's only the ugly, unattractive women that are mentally disturbed. You can't think it's only the ones that got 8, 9 kids that are mentally disturbed. We got women that are attractive. We got women that are church going. We got women that are successful. We got women that are independent. They may look well together on the outside, but that brain, there's a malfunction up there. A lot of women cannot handle rejection. They can't handle it. They can't, and not only just rejection, they can't handle being lied to. They can't handle being manipulated. Some women will take an L and take it as a lesson and keep it moving. Other women, if they find out you cheating, you lying, you manipulating, they take things to a whole nother level. There is no reason. They don't reason, they react. There's no reasoning. It's straight reacting. They let their feelings, they let their emotions get the best of them, right? So you got to be careful, because some of these women don't take being cheated on. They don't take being lied to. They don't take being manipulated. They can't take the punch and just, deal with it and keep it moving. Some women, they get mentally out of whack. They go into a rage. They go into beast mode. And the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position in which you're in beast mode. Now, what I'm thinking is, he could have possibly cheated, to cause her to respond in the way he did. Or if 9 times out of 10, for a woman to go this far, it's been cheating. But in other cases, one could also agree and say it's emotional dysfunction. Some women will crash out over the simplest little things. You're not saying where you're going to be at. You're telling her you're going to be one place and she find out she's somewhere else. Many women crash out for various reasons. You know what I mean? So let's get into this. All right, let's get into some other reasons that possibly led to, her burning this man's car, setting on fire. What else could have provoked this, right? Again, we're not condoning violence. We're just trying to get down to the causes, how I got to this point. What could have possibly led up to this, right? Let me see. Class will be tomorrow. Okay, sorry, y'all. Y'all know I got my own business and stuff too, so people text me, right? But anyway, next one is perceived betrayal or humiliation. Feeling played, used, or publicly embarrassed. Some of you guys are sloppy cheaters. Y'all are sloppy. You know what I mean? And then some of you are so comfortable with the disrespect. You do it out openly. You know what I mean? You posting a woman on your social media, you're out in the public. And you think a woman is not keeping up with what you're doing, keeping up with who you're possibly seeing. You have some women that become very possessive, right? So whether you feel like there's a relationship or not, in her mind, there is a relationship. In her mind, especially if there's intimacy involved, you're sexually involved with this woman, even though in your mind, you may look at it like she's a pump and dump. If you have not kept it real and you're not leading her on, you're leading her on and making her think of something more meaningful, and you know it's really not, that's just something you feeding her to keep her convenient, then you put yourself in a position where you can end up in these crash out situations, right? So anytime a woman feels played, used, or publicly embarrassed, discovering cheating lies or double lives, feeling laughed at or dismissed, women are emotional by creatures. And when women become emotional, they become evil once the emotions start wearing off. You know, emotions, they devastated, they crying, they upset, they texting you, they following you, stalking you. But then when they get to that emotional, they go straight to evil mode. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to set his car on fire. I'm going to call his job and get him fired. You know, they go for the gusto because, again, they're not thinking logically. They're thinking emotionally. You know, and you probably not leading on. You probably did tell her what it was. You know, you probably told her, hey, you know, I'm not looking to be in a relationship and I'm not looking to build anything, but this is the problem. If your actions are not aligning with the word, you know what I mean, and you are treating her like she is your girlfriend, even though you're saying there's no relationship, even though you're saying like you're not trying to take it to the next level, but you're doing things that's making her believe that. Y'all traveling, y'all going out of town, you booking cruises, you know, you're doing all of this relationship stuff. It gives mixed signals, feel me? So you got to be careful with that. For some people, humiliation hurts more than loss. You know, if you're doing something privately, you know, most of the time women could take an L if it's private and nobody knows about it. But publicly, because women, we're highly sensitive when it comes to our image, you know, and it comes to how people perceive us, how people look at us. And the fact that she's thinking that, you know, y'all got something solid and you caught up out here in these streets, you know what I'm saying? And you, you know, you out here getting involved with other women, you know, she can't handle that embarrassment. Most women cannot handle embarrassment. They cannot. They will simply crash out over the fact that you are doing things that's making her look like, you know, she's not your woman. You know what I mean? Like, you have to make that clear, and not only make it clear, your actions got to line up with that. You can't still be taking this woman to bed and figure that, you know, she should understand because you kept it real with her. She'll say that, she'll act like she understands, but sooner than later, the more quality time, the more y'all invest time, she's going to invest feelings. So you got to be careful with that. Provocation over time. You know, repeated disrespect. Let's face it, some of you dudes, y'all are messy as hell. You know what I mean? Not all y'all, but some of y'all are messy. You know, especially these YNs. I think most of the time, older guys, they get to a place in which they realize their peace is more important than trying to prove a point. But for some of you YNs or some of you older men who lack accountability and you still want to be a player from the Himalayas and things of that nature, some of y'all are messy. You know, you like to play mind games. You know, 1 minute having her close to you, then you pushing her away. You know, it's this up and down, in and out. 1 minute you claiming you want to be with her, next minute you don't. Sooner than later, it just triggers the situation and makes it far worse. Constant provocation doesn't justify violence, but it absolutely fuels it. So even though she needs to be woman enough and not allow your taunting, your mind games to get the best of her, truth is most of these women, they do. They get emotional. Some women allow themselves to be in unhealthy situations because they want so badly to be with that man, even though he's disrespecting her, clowning her, using her, whatever the case is. If you're using a female for your own entertainment purposes, just keep in mind that when you use a woman for your own entertainment purpose, sooner or later, all her evil ways will come to the surface. Keep that in mind, okay? Even though you know you can, even though you feel empowered doing so, do not get involved with a woman just to taunt her, just to constantly disrespect her, just to have someone whom you can drag through the mud just so your ego is stroked. A lot of these women out here are not mentally stable. They cannot handle it. Don't underestimate them. Don't think they won't take your life. Don't think they won't try to ruin your livelihood. I mean, if you haven't watched It's a Thin Line Between Love and Hate, an old classic movie with Martin Payne, and I advise you to do that. Don't invite yourself into a woman's life just to manipulate and play mind games, because you may end up getting more than what you bargained for, right? Next, ego injury, feeling powerless, feeling like they lost control of the situation. Women have egos too, and especially if she's always been able to have her way with you, you were always the let's go alone and get along type of guy. You pretty much always gave in, and now you've gotten to that point where you realize you're being manipulated, and she's being malicious, and now you start trying to take your power back. This is where that crash out comes out. Wanting to take something back from the man. When someone feels powerless, destruction feels like power. This is what happens when you tell her, I don't want to be with you no more. I don't want you living in my house. You put out your house. Anything in which she feels like she no longer has leverage or access to be able to control or dictate your life, she's going to try to gain control one way or another. And if she has to do that through her ego, she will definitely do so. Okay? So keep in mind, the mentally unstable bird, she does not mind crashing out. She doesn't think or consider the consequences, because in her mind, I'm going to get power one way or another. I want to destroy you. And most of the time, women that are emotionally unstable, like this chick here, women who have, crash out tendencies, what tends to happen is they will more than likely destroy something you love. And more than likely for her to destroy his car, she knew that man valued his car. Most of the time, women know you value your car. This is where the damaging your vehicle, or damaging your property, anything that you value, they're going to try to make sure you lose it. And that's where that comes from. Lack of consequence awareness, not thinking about arrest, charges, permanent record, acting like emotions justify actions. A lot of women haven't been arrested. A lot of them have not had any real consequences to understand that when they crash out completely like this, that it can very well affect their future. You could be involved with a female who has no sense of accountability, has no sense of not understanding that, the choices she make, it could very well cause her to have to deal with the law. Some women never been locked up before. Other men have not caught the law on women who have done this before. So she feels comfortable crashing out. She feels comfortable vandalizing people's things because she never had to deal with any choices. Let's face it, most of the time, men, y'all don't like calling police. Y'all don't like the police. Y'all don't like the law, so therefore y'all like to get them involved. But in cases like this, it's better to get the law involved versus you trying to take matters into your own hands. Mental health or substance influence. Unrelated mental illnesses. I told y'all that. Some of these sisters out here are mentally unstable. Also, substance use lowering inhibition. If you deal with a woman that smokes a lot, drinks a lot, loves to get high, loves to get drunk, she's a high risk factor. Okay, and crashing out. Heightened paranoia or rage. These are things that you have to be mindful of, man. Just because a woman looks a certain way, it does not mean, okay, that the elevator does not go all the way up. It's a lot of sisters out here that's supposed to be on medication. I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, if y'all ever riding somewhere, y'all see a woman walking down the street, butt ass naked, talking out her head, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's a lot of sisters out here that have not been diagnosed, that have not sought any real treatment. You know, they haven't experienced any real therapy. You have women who done went through a lot of stuff as a child and they never got help for it. Women who have been molested, women who have been sexually abused, stuff like that. They don't get help for that stuff. What tends to happen is their mind starts going. These are the ones you see in the street crashing out. These are the ones who, you know, the moment a man breaks up with them, you know, she's distraught. She's going to his house, bamming on his door. Mother effer, you better bring your black ass outside. Doing all this crazy stuff because you don't know these women's history. This is why it's important that you not just look at the booty. It is also your duty to get inside the mindset of these women. You need to find out her family history. You need to find out what kind of father she had in her life. What kind of mother she had. Before you pump and dump, smash and pass. You may be dealing with a woman that's very, very well mentally bad off. A lot of sisters supposed to be on medication. A lot of sisters will not seek treatment, will not seek help, will not go to a doctor. So therefore, they don't think anything is wrong with them. So, you know, one of the main punchlines I wanted to add to this, I mean, men, y'all need to stop confusing attention with safety, intensity with passion, and chaos with desire. Just because a woman follows you or stalks you, don't get impressed by that. Like, oh man, I'm the man. You know, she can't leave this good dick alone. She can't leave this good wood alone. You know what I mean? Don't. This is nothing to see as a proud moment. You may be dealing with a woman that can very well take your life. You know, or destroy something that you value. Okay? Most men don't think a woman will go this far until she does. Stop underestimating these broads. Okay? I don't care if she's young. I don't care if she's white. I don't care if she's exotica. I don't care what she is. Okay? You can't underestimate them. A lot of y'all like to get these young women because you think they inexperienced. They don't know the game, but that's the dangerous part. Getting somebody that's inexperienced is an advantage, but it's a disadvantage because this is the kind of person that will crash out, and because she doesn't have experience, she doesn't have anything to really go on. You feel me? So you got to be careful with that. You know, don't underestimate a woman because she's young or she's white. You feel like she's more humble, submissive, or you feel like she's Korean. Even these foreign women are not as humble and docile as they used to be. Okay? Or you figure because she's much older that, she feels her options are limited. So, therefore, you feel like you could do all kind of things to her and she won't act out because you feel like, oh, she's older. She's not going to crash out. Just don't underestimate anybody's emotions. I don't care what the case may be, what their race may be, what their age may be. Do not underestimate these women. Okay? Most men don't think a woman, I already said that. Next line is this. This didn't happen out of nowhere. And while she's responsible for her actions, men are responsible for the situations they choose to entertain. You know, some of these sisters are not well off, right? You know, they're not all the way there, okay? Unless you don't mind jeopardizing your livelihood, your peace, then, you know, continue to underestimate these women and see what you end up with. Now, the other one is unresolved trauma. You're dealing with women who have been hurt, who are scorned, have abandonment issues, have been betrayed, have a history of chaotic or violent relationships. Old wounds don't stay quiet when they're triggered. Okay? You don't know what type of baggage you're picking up. You feel me? You don't know if this woman is still harboring hate from a guy in her past, if she's still harboring pain from a failed relationship. You don't know what you're really up against. So you don't literally want to play with fire and play with women's emotions. making them believe that you got intentions that you really don't have, because it's not going to take much to trigger a woman who's already still recovering. You know what I mean? And if you pay attention and you don't be so fixated on what a woman looks like, or the fact that you done took her to bed so early that you're not dealing with her simply off of the merit of infatuation. It's a lot of significant details she's eventually going to leak out to you. If you talk to her long enough, she's going to tell you, hey, my last relationship, I had a guy who lied to me, I had a guy who played me, I had a guy who used me. Learn to get in her head before you get in between her legs. You know what I'm saying? You can avoid a lot of detrimental consequences. Also, attention-seeking escalation, wanting a reaction. She knew exactly what she was doing. She went to this ninja's apartment complex. She wanted to embarrass him. She wanted to humiliate him. She wanted everyone to see, I'm going to let everybody know what kind of time I'm on. I want everybody to see what this ninja, what this dude is really about, how scandalous he is. A lot of times women will publicly do things to you to shame you, to make people look at you with a side eye. She did this because she wanted a reaction. Unfortunately, he did not go out and retaliate. He didn't run after her. He didn't unalive her. So, I'm glad he did do that. You know what I mean? To see it right in front of your face that this person is setting your car on fire. That's enough to trigger anybody. That's enough to make he could have crashed out. So, I'm glad he didn't. Wanting to be taken seriously. He says, you won't take me serious. Let me show you how serious I can get. Wanting to be seen, heard, or feel. Like I said, she could have waited when his car got parked anywhere. She did this to send a message. She did this in front of his neighbors. Hopefully he ain't staying with his wife. Hopefully he ain't staying with the mother of his child, whatever the case may be. Some people don't want peace. They want impact. I want everybody to see that I'm the wrong bitch that you tried. I'm going to let you, I'm going to let your neighbors, I'm going to let everybody see you tried the wrong one. Okay? She did that to make a statement. Unfortunately, it's going to cost her to go to prison for arson, criminal trespass, all that. Listen, she definitely going to get the business, okay? Which brings me to the next point. Lack of consequence awareness. A lot of these women, they don't think about getting arrested. They don't think about charges. They don't think that stuff like this is going to go on their record. Okay, they act like emotions justify their actions. They feel like because they feel some type of way, they can act on it whenever they feel like it. This is what I talk about in my family violence classes and domestic violence classes. People think because they feel a certain way, they can react how they want to. Okay, just because you feel, it does not give you a pass. Your pain does not give you a pass to react as you choose. And that goes for men and women. Okay? When emotions are in charge, consequences don't exist. When emotions are in charge, you end up catching charges. Okay? Also put that in your back pocket. And we're about to get ready to wrap things up, right? Next one is this, guys. Mental health, all sorts of influence. Again, I think I mentioned this earlier about women who got mental illnesses and drug use, all of that. I think I mentioned that earlier. And this is definitely very, very mindful. If you have dealing with a woman who is always heavy under the influence, 9 times out of 10, the substance is going to cloud her judgment. All right. So this is finally where we land that plane. Men need to stop confusing attention with safety, intensity with passion, and chaos with desire. Okay. Most men don't think or don't believe a woman will go that far until she does. And lastly, this didn't happen out of nowhere. And while she's responsible for her actions, men are responsible for the situations they choose to entertain. So be careful what type of woman you allow to have access to your life. Okay. All right. So y'all, what do y'all think about this? Do y'all think he did something to bring this upon himself? What is something you think he possibly could have done? I mean, cheating is obvious. Is there any other reason you think she would go this far to crash out? Have you men ever experienced a woman vandalizing your property, ruining your livelihood, simply because she couldn't contain her feelings. I am interested. I would like to know. Anyway, y'all take care. I kept getting all kind of interruptions out the pause and break. It's just been a crazy day today. But nevertheless, I know, again, my objective is to be consistent and to make sure I keep giving y'all content twice a week. So we can't let one monkey stop a show. But please, guys and ladies, if you haven't already, hit that like button. Please subscribe, join the family. That way, when I upload new content, you will be in the loop. And of course, we got many more gems that we're going to be dropping soon and along the way. Y'all take care. And guys, be careful with the crash out queens. Take care.